explore practical ways to live with intention, compassion, and clarity in this chaotic, noisy world. Now, listeners, today I'm so excited for this episode, especially because we're diving into the theme mindful to blissful. How mindfulness transforms stress into bliss. And listeners, my guest is Dr. Roberta Garceau. She is not only a practicing dentist, but also a certified yoga and Ayurveda instructor, professional speaker, and the author of the number one Amazon bestseller, Bliss Not Burnout. And through her work in elemental wellness, Dr. Garceau blends Western medicine with integrative practices to guide others toward health, self esteem, and also holistic well being. So, with that, Dr. Roberta, I'm so excited to have you here and welcome to the Mindful Living.
Thank you, Sana. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm a fan of health and mental health. And here we are in the month of May, the month of mental health awareness. What
Yes,
better time to talk about mindfulness?
absolutely, absolutely. That's such a beautiful alignment. Great, Dr. Roberta. So before we talk about your book and about mindfulness, how it can shift stress into bliss, what exactly was that journey, or what exactly motivated you, inspired you to dive into this theme of mindful to blissful, and also pen your book down.
Certainly. So there was a time in my life when I was not living very mindfully. I was living very stressfully in my dental practice. My children were young. My practice was growing, and I was doing everything right because sometimes as a woman, uh, or as women, we can take on these capes, these roles that we are superheroes. We can do everything. We can do it all, right? Or as men, for that matter. It's really not a gender thing. But the idea that we can do everything, and I found that I was getting not only mentally stressed, but I became physically ill, and I needed emergency surgery for internal bleeding. And that was a big wake up call. Like, okay, I knew things were getting out of balance, and that was just a smack in the face. Like my body said, you must stop. You must stop and take care of yourself. And over time, that led me to study yoga more and become a certified instructor. And that led me into Ayurveda, right? Because that's the sister science to yoga. And um, that's all mindfulness. And it's such a wonderful tool that's free and accessible to all of us.
That is such a beautiful statement. It's a wonderful free tool, accessible to all of us. But Dr. Roberta, first of all, thank you so much for sharing your journey. We often associate mindfulness with being aware or being present in the moment and trying to enjoy the beauty of the present. How would you exactly define mindfulness? I mean, taking the inspiration from your a perspective from your journey.
Right. So in my book, Bliss Not Burnout, which the subtitle is Hope for Healthcare Providers, it's not just for people who work in healthcare. It's
Mhm.
also for all of us who've ever been in the role of caring for a parent, a partner, a child, a friend. And that's pretty much all of us, I think, at some point in our lives, right?
Mhm.
So, um, mindfulness, as I talk about in the book, is being present and aware in this moment. Um, and so for myself, there's so many ways to do that, right? Because it's human nature to be distracted. It's not uh, a weakness or a fault when our minds wander, when we get distracted, when we're going in too many directions. And like you said, our world is so busy. We're
Mhm.
constantly bombarded with messages and billboards and notifications and emails and texts and so much sound noise, sound pollution that's going on that
Yeah.
coming back to the elements is helpful. So for me, some things that I teach and that I practice personally are
Mm.
just doing a sense scan. Um, that's a really great way to get mindful and grounded in just a minute or two. So going through, okay, what do I hear right now? Right? And that right away quiets things down. And then what do I feel? It could be temperatures or textures on your skin coming from the space around you, or it could be sensations, aches or pains or gurglings or inflammation or pressure or imbalances in your physical body. And then what do I see? And you can even see things through lowered or closed eyelids, right? If we're going to be more introspective, you can see
Mhm.
shapes or colors. And then going into what do you taste? It could be whatever you've eaten. It could be perhaps you're tasting fresh air, or perhaps you're congested and you're tasting a different taste. And then what do you smell? And that just, when you just can guide yourself through that free and easy process, already I feel more grounded. I don't know. I don't know about you, but it's really becoming aware of yourself, of your surroundings, and getting yourself more present.
True. That is so true. Because uh, I mean, if from my personal experiences, I can absolutely uh, understand, feel what you're saying. Because for some people it may sound very laid back or very normal. I mean, what is there? I mean, I don't have even time to remember what I ate in the morning. I'm so busy with everything. I don't have time to do that. And then how will I find time to taste what I'm eating or feeling a change in my taste or the way I walk or the way I see, the way I think? I think it's kind of exactly as you mentioned, being aware about the present. Whether it is within you or your surroundings or the events happening, or even if the food you are eating, you're consuming. So it is less about adding practices and it's more about changing how we meet what's already happening.
Right.
That's what I think, Dr. Roberta.
And it's not going to be 24 hours a day that you're mindful and present and aware. That would be lovely, but unless you're going to live the life of a monk, that's as close as you might get, right? We're all householders. We're all people in this busy, noisy world, and so even practicing mindfulness for little snippets, little bits of time throughout the day, we can have triggers. We can practice in the morning, right, to help ground ourselves, or get our mind state, get our heads on for the rest of the day. You can take a break in the middle of the day, perhaps if you're taking a meal break, or my goodness, you can take a mindfulness break when you go to the bathroom. If you just can't get away from other people, hopefully you can use the restroom by yourself, right? You don't need a special circumstance or a special membership or to a club or a gym or a something. It's nice to practice meditation with a group and a community. That's a whole different level of energy. And my point is, the question, am I doing it right? Or I don't know how to meditate, or I don't know how to do that, or I don't have time for that. I'm like, gosh, you do. You can do it anywhere, anytime for a minute, 30 seconds. Studies show that even those mini, mini mindfulness breaks really make a difference in your level of stress and anxiety.
Absolutely, absolutely. And as you mentioned about those small breaks, sometimes I find so much solace, and I kind of start listening to the thoughts I'm running within my mind, when I'm on a bathroom break or I'm just sitting quietly. I love to listen to music while working, or maybe a podcast while working, but when sometimes I'm just sitting in silence. It's sometimes scary, yet so wonderful to feel those thoughts running within your mind.
Exactly. Sometimes we just need to get quiet
Yeah.
to allow them to flow up. They're there already, right? We have everything we need. We know we continue to learn every day, and we're good enough right how we are right now. It's just allowing ourselves to access that part of ourselves that might get a little muffled or trampled on or, set aside during the day.
Mm.
Just coming back to those parts of ourselves.
Definitely, definitely, Dr. Roberta. And you bridge Western medicine with Ayurveda and yoga. So I'm really curious, Doctor, where do you see the traditional healthcare falling short in addressing stress and burnout?
Oh my gosh. So I, it is a blend, right? It is joining both together, yoking both together. I'm not debunking one or the other. And
Mm.
how much more whole and holistically we can be aware of ourselves and take care of ourselves when we consider both. So with the Western medicine, we need surgical interventions. We need certain medications. I'm grateful for an antibiotic when I need one, right? There's a time in history where an infection could be deadly, and just a simple antibiotic is helping now.
Yeah.
However, especially in the United States where I'm living, there's so much big pharma and so much emphasis on going to a Western care provider, getting a diagnosis and a prescription. That's how Western providers are taught. That's how they're educated to care for people. That's how they are rewarded financially and merit wise. And that's how that's how it's kind of gone for a while. And we continue to get sicker and sicker. We're not looking at the root cause of why is that? So in my dental practice, I have an emphasis also on holistic health and a
Mm.
background as a diplomate in the American Academy of Dental Sleep Medicine. So I'll help people with sleep apnea, snoring, and other sleep related breathing disorders. And they'll come in and say, oh, reviewing the medical history. Now they're on famotidine or pantoprazole or some other antacid. And I'll say, okay, why do you have reflux? Why do you have acid indigestion? That's not normal to have that. So we can talk about things like what are you eating? When are you eating? What's your lifestyle? Maybe it's a matter of tweaking when they're eating their last meal for the evening. Maybe it's the stress in their life. Maybe they're not breathing well. And so while they're horizontal and sleeping, they're trying to breathe and their belly is pumping up stomach acid into their throat and into their mouth. And so I just get frustrated when we only look at things as a hammer and a nail. The hammer's the diagnosis and the prescription is the nail, but we're missing why did we need the nail in the first place? So when we look at things more holistically with more awareness and we ask why, like a 2-year old, why, again and again, then we're peeling away the layers and getting a little bit more to the root cause. So maybe we can correct things from where they're deriving and more holistically rather than just continuing to layer on more and more prescriptions, more and more nails.
Mm. No, and I totally support this critique, yeah, and really makes me wonder that I guess we are medicating symptoms without tackling the root causes of chronic stress. Just thinking that okay, this is just a byproduct of uh, the work I am doing, or all these responsibilities are on me. So it's natural. This is the modern lifestyle. It's the price we have to kind of pay. That normalizing of chronic stress or burnout. So this has to be addressed upon. This has to be talked about. And doctor, many people, they leverage mindfulness as a tool for coping. But um, do you think there is a risk of it becoming just another task on the to-do list? Just as a like daily checklist. Okay, 15 minutes break. Okay, fine, done. Rather a genuine practice.
Right. That's a great question, Sana. So,
Mhm,
sure, it could be anything that we're adding to our life could be another thing on, the list. And my my recommendation, as with anything, is to try to incorporate it into something that's already happening. That it doesn't have to be another to do. Because when I was sick, when I was so stressed and so burned out that I got physically ill, I didn't
mhm,
perceive that I had that time. I didn't perceive that I had 5 minutes for myself, which is obviously way out of balance. And so how I recommend it is just like any other habit. If my dental patients are not using dental floss, we'll try to tie it to something else, a habit that they already have. So maybe they're going to do it in the shower, or maybe they're going to do it while they're watching television, or maybe they're going to do it at sitting at a red light in their car. It doesn't matter, just trying to marry it to something. And so that's again where those mini mindfulness breaks can come in. You can give yourself a mindfulness break when you drive home from work, park your car,
mhm,
and before you get out of the car and walk into your family or your pets or your space, just take a moment to do that sense scan, like I was talking about earlier. Or, you know, mindfulness, Thich Nhat Hanh talks about mindful meditation while chopping vegetables, folding laundry, things that we're already doing. We can just, I'm not going to say that when I'm folding underpants that I'm always mindful. And yet we can be, right? We can take a moment and feel the textures, look at the colors, just be in that moment. And it's not a thing to do, it's really a respite. So we can shift the mind state to thinking, okay, now mindfulness is another thing I've got to do in my day, like, and be cranky about it. Now it's like, oh, I get to do that. And guess what? It's not going to take more time if I'm making my morning coffee or my morning chai. That in
mhm,
itself can be a mindfulness practice. Uh, even in your washing yourself, perhaps you're
mhm,
applying moisturizer or oil to your skin afterwards. That can be mindful. Like, oh, feel yourself caring for yourself, feeling the water on your body, feeling the oils lubricating your skin. Um, little things, little tiny
mhm,
breaks, and all those little things do add up. They give your mind a rest from the distractions and the noises and allow you to be present just for that little bit of time. So it doesn't have to be a 15-minute sit down. I'm meditating, and that's what I'm doing right now. Now I've got to get up 15 minutes earlier, or I need to do this for 15 minutes before I go to bed. If you like that practice, that's beautiful. And if you feel like that's just another thing, these mini breaks, mini mindful exercises are wonderful as well, and don't add any time or very little effort to your day.
definitely, definitely. And Dr. Amy, this question is so interesting. You have worked in high pressure healthcare environments. I mean, it's unfathomable to even calculate or understand the kind of pressure all in the front line. So from your own journey, what's one, or maybe if there are more than one, non-negotiable practices that has helped you maintain your own sense of bliss even in the midst of stress?
Ah, so in the morning in preparation, non-negotiable is I journal. That's my time with my warm beverage of choice in the morning, and that's my quiet time. I may light a candle. I'll have things around me that bring me joy, and it's just a quiet time where I can go through my previous day. What did I learn? Where did I make a difference? Um, what brought me joy? For what am I grateful? Because my goodness, if we can't think of 3 things for which we're
Mhm.
grateful each day, That's a heads up right there, right? We all have so much to be grateful for. We woke up for goodness sake. So that's the first one. And that gets me ready for the day. That's not negotiable. Throughout the day, if I'm feeling stressed, I just remind myself to go back to breathing. It's
Mhm.
and am I perfect? Absolutely not. It's a practice. Every single day is a practice. I don't share this or teach it because I think I've got it all together and I'm better than everyone else. I share it and teach it because I've learned a lot along the way between Western and Eastern and
Mhm.
personal experience. And it's been really beneficial. It's helped other people. And I really, truly want to increase awareness so that everyone can enjoy greater wellness because you are already empowered. I don't believe that any individual empowers another individual. I think that we can lift others up, support them,
Mhm.
help them with some tools and encouragement because they've already got it within them. So again,
Mhm.
that during the day stress, just go back to the breath. Sometimes I'll just try to ground myself. Exhale first. The worst thing I find to tell someone for again, going back to my primary profession as a dentist, just relax. Take a deep breath. No, 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 no. It doesn't work that way, right? You've got to exhale first and then allow the breath to come in. So even myself, exhale, try to stretch that out to 5 seconds, and then inhale, try to slow it down to 5 seconds. And there are studies that show that that rhythm, that rhythmic 5-second breathing, is in so many traditions, chanting, spirituals, all different traditions from all around the world, that it's really a soothing, calming metric. It's like a musical metric that we can give for ourselves in any moment. You could be standing in line to buy your groceries and feeling impatient and be like, okay, I'm just going to breathe here. And nobody knows that you're taking care of yourself, but you are. And guess what? You're taking care of the people around you because you're bringing your better self to the world.
Exactly. Exactly. So it's not definitely just, a selfish practice, as some people might think that okay, you're focusing on yourself, that is selfish. And sometimes, especially caregivers, they can have this guilt that even if I'm dedicating 5 minutes or 15 minutes of time to myself just to make myself show up better for others as well, people may think that I am selfish. I'm just running away from my duties or my responsibilities.
Right. But exactly what you said, Sana. When you take care of yourself, you're more available to all the people around you. And I did learn that the hard way, right? And sometimes need reminders. It's like, hey, take a break. The number one best self care question is, what do I need right now? Right? What do I truly need right now? Is it a drink of water? If you're hungry, what food do I need right now? Am I going to reach for something convenient? Sometimes that happens. Or it's like, you know what? I can take 10 or 15 minutes to cut up these vegetables and, cook them with some healthy oils and get some lean protein. And wow, I feel so much better for taking the time to take care of myself. And now I'm more able to do everything else and be present for everyone else.
Definitely. Definitely. Right. So before we wrap up, Dr. Roberta, if our listeners would like to get a hold of your book, Bliss Not Burnout, and connect with you as well, what is the best way to do that?
Excellent. So there are two ways to get the book. One is to simply go on Amazon and search for Bliss Not Burnout. It'll pop right up for you. It's available in paperback or ebook. And other than that, you can go to my website, which is my name. It's a lot of vowels at the end, but it's DR for Dr. Roberta. And then my last name is GAR, C like Charlie, EAU. So www.drrobertagarceau.com. And there you can see some other resources, order my book, a signed copy if you'd like. Um, as well as any events that might be going on where I might be speaking. We're still building that site truly to have more podcasts and blogs and other information there. So it's just all goodness.
Beautiful, beautiful. I'll make sure to have all the links included in the show notes,
Thank
Dr. Roberta. Thank you so much for, first of all, sharing your journey and also for making the discussion around mindfulness approachable from a very practical, simple point of view. And also, it's clear that your approach is reshaping how we think about stress and well-being or self-care. And yeah, a sense scan. That I loved that word. I'm definitely going to take it away and use it in my discussions. So thank
Excellent.
you so much.
Let me know how it goes. You can always just reach out and say, hey, I did that and wow.
Lovely, lovely. And to all the mindful listeners out there, I hope today's conversation sparked something within you for you. So be sure to check out Dr. Garceau's book, Bliss Not Burnout. And also just refer to the show notes to connect with her along with this episode on your favorite podcast platform. And until next time, this is your host, Sana, reminding you to live mindfully, love boldly, and pause often. Thank you.